Hello, friends. Jay, the silent cartographer here, and I am in Inkarnate, specifically the free version of Inkarnate here. And I haven't used Inkarnate for probably 2 years. I remember using the region maps way back in the day to make my first digital RPG maps before Wonder Draft, before I really got into hand drawing them, before anything. I remember it being pretty freaking crap. If I'm being honest, I believe that um the biggest thing about Incarnate that I hated was the fact that you couldn't undo. But it looks like this is much different than I remember. I'm imagining that the options with the little pro next to it are not wow. Okay, so you get a lot more assets for being pro. But okay, so we've got our battle map, our fantasy map, and our world map. And then fantasy world, I guess, is oh, and then the classic, which I think this is probably a recreation of the original Incarnate. So yeah, just look at all these options. Look at all of these options. What do I want to make? Well, let's see what's got the most assets to it. The battle map seems to have the most assets to it when it comes to everything. I'm not sure if I want to make a battle map today because I made one yesterday. You know what? We can. That looks so good. Um, let's do a regional map just because it's what I know. Wow, look at this. You can do 2K for free. That's really cool. You can do 2K for free. I was expecting that to be a little bit like I thought that was gonna be 1080p. Sorry, I just woke up because I had to do stuff last night. Okay, so let's take a peek at what we've got under the screen. We have a fit to screen button here. That's lovely, but if I zoom out, this doesn't seem like 2K to me because 2K is. They said it was a 2K in a 4:3 aspect ratio, which is not what I was imagining. I was imagining 2K in a 16:9 ratio, but that's okay. The mask tool, I assume, just draws land. There is an undo button. Oh my god. Okay, this is gonna be way better. The brush tool, which I imagine is just, and you can choose the layer, the foreground, the background, scene settings. All right, so this daily map is gonna take quite a bit longer than the than the next one. Show grid. Oh, look, it's a perspective grid. It's not an orthographic grid. We can make an orthographic grid. Interesting. We can also make a hex grid. Can't make it a perspective hex grid though. Blow it up, shrink it down. Color. Alpha's at 50. Do not show grid. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit here. Let's get our work cut out for us. And I wonder. Ooh. Oh, okay, so the path tool is a pro feature. So we can't put paths, texts, stamps. These are the. Incarnate always did have okay assets. So I will give them that wholeheartedly. Okay, so we've got mask effects, light ripples, dark ripples. I see no difference between the two. No ripples. And no ripples. So whatever that is, it's just not, oh. Does it only have like 4 undo steps? That's kind of annoying. Because if any of you are fans of my other work, you would certainly know that I tend to undo a lot in my stuff. Oh, and then if you hit Alt, you can add or subtract. That's cool. Although I dislike how scrolling isn't increase or decrease the size of my brush. These are nitpicks at this point. But I did see something, which is the world generator. Let's generate a new world then. Ooh, look at that. That's awesome. Okay, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, Incarnate. I see what you're doing. How do I? Okay, so spacebar. It's very weird. It's like a mixture of every other program that I use in my daily life. I hate it. For most of my work, I'm working in Maya. For some of my work, I'm working in Blender, and then for the other work, I'm working in in Microsoft Word. And then, of course, for hobbies, I use WonderDraft and Roll20. So, like, camera controls are different on every platform. It's so annoying. It's absolutely the most annoying part of my life is the fact that the most obnoxious part of my life is that I I have to relearn all these different things. I will say for the world generator, one thing I'm a little bit frustrated by is the fact that unlike WonderDraft, where you can pick like, oh, I want this to be islands, I want this to be a continent. This very much seems to be like telling me what I'm doing. I want this ocean to be like 30%. I want this ocean to be like 30%. I want a big old chunk of land. And look at that. That's so good. That's so good. Okay, we're gonna shrink this down. We're just gonna cut that. And look at that, it even does the coastline for us. And the coastline, I mean, I don't think that you can make a rougher coastline, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I think that this will actually serve us pretty nicely. And I think I'm actually going to go ahead and cut the side of this off. Just like that. That looks a bit dumb, so we're going to get rid of that. And look at that, we've got ourselves a little map here. Alright, so let's see what else we can do with this. We've got the brush options. We've got all these different brushes. I imagine that the star is premium, so you can pick from these assets. So we've got a grass here. Let's see what this looks like. Yeah, not terrible. A bit vomit green, but we're not going to complain because it's a free asset. Not going to complain because it's free and they want to sell their subscription model. That's fine. I'm more bothered by Inkarnate being a subscription instead of just like a pay once to have it forever kind of thing. But just because I don't feel like it's necessary to be a subscription, honestly. Alright, so we've got some brown land here. I have to remember that I only have 6 undos. Like I want these other tones of grass here. That's kind of really what I'm interested in. None of this other stuff really seems like something I would use. Maybe the savanna. Certainly like the ices and stuff, but I want more grass options in the default, because grass is such like the fundamental part of fantasy map. Is that so? We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna trace the coastline to the sand color, just like this. A little bit opaque, so it's not gonna completely overwhelm the grass that it's on top of, and then. Oh, that's another thing. Look at that. You can't change the opacity of your brush if I'm seeing this correctly. Oh, I can change the opacity of this brush. It's just by default. This is opaque because you can see the stuff underneath this. So this is by design. This is opaque, and so we're gonna abuse that fact. Gonna make this. Still haven't set up my drawing tablet to do this, which is a very foolish thing. Okay, so that's that. Then we're going to cut the opacity to 50%, and we're just going to trace and blend this into grass to kind of make it look like, to make it look like it fades into the grass of the land. Give it a bit of a highlight. I think that'll look cool. There we go. Perfect. And then we'll hit that. I don't mind that at all. I want to just stare at this catalog for a second. The more yellow grass. If I really cut the opacity down to like 25%, can I? Can't even see it. What's one look like? Maybe we're looking for like a 75. No, too much. Maybe a 50 still. All right. So yeah, now we're gonna take this yellow grass and we're just gonna paint. So it keeps the green of the grass underneath it, but it gives the continent a bit more sense of life. But I'm not sure if I'm a fan of that, and I really hope that I can't undo it. I can't. How do you make a program that can't undo beyond 6 steps? That's a huge oversight, unless it's a paid feature to. I don't want to use this program anymore, honestly. Just for this right here, Upgrade to undo up to 100 of your last actions. Why would you fuck somebody over like that? Why would you do that to somebody? This is your product. You want people to use this and have fun. I don't want to pay you to have more fun. I want to pay you because I like your product. So now I have to go back in, and I'm going to be cutting this with more green, and I'm going to screw up my coastline because I have to pay to undo things. What a morally bankrupt thing to charge for. Undo privileges. Like, I understand more art assets, because you can pay for art assets and feel good about that, because you're paying an artist to make something for you. Undo steps? Really? Like, I can even say, like, a bigger map size, because it takes more server space for them. But Microsoft Notepad has more text, like, literally, Notepad for Windows has more undo steps than Inkarnate. It's not a system requirement thing. It's a them wanting to make money off of you thing, and so I can't endorse this product. And I'm sorry, I got a little bit frustrated there, but I get a little bit frustrated when this kind of stuff happens. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna look through all this stuff. And of course, we can't get any of this good stuff, but you know, surprisingly, looking through this, there's very few mountains. There's these mountains over here, which seem really neat. These two specifically, the grassy ones, because right now all we've got for stamps are these small mountains and these large mountains. And these large mountains being very, very large. Got to make sure I don't. Okay, so density, that's fine. Is there a scale? Is this the same? Yeah, that's the scale. So we're gonna put this at like 35. Where do we want the mountains? Maybe we want the mountains to go around this area here, like that, and have the illusion of them going through the water and popping out over on this side. Just like that. And then maybe we'll have like a weird little nugget of mountains here that makes like a valley almost over in the corner. What else do we want to do with mountains? Do we want to do anything up here with mountains? I think the answer is of course we do. So we're going to come in from off screen here, and we're going to make a really dense mountain range coming down the side here. And that's going to kind of be our little area here. We're going to go to our stamp catalog, and we're going to... what did I just do? Oh, I blew out the... I do like how it shows you all the little mountains that you can pick from this, and then you can see exactly what mountains your stamp does. You've made a lot of changes. Consider saving. Don't tell me what to do, Inkarnate. Are you telling me you don't have cloud backup enabled? Are you telling me that as I'm making these changes, you're not just saving in the background? That's why have it on a website then? Why would you have something on a website if you did not have one of the main functionalities of hosting something online, which is the fact that you can back my work up without me doing anything? Nope. Package. That was unfortunate. Got a it's something I've been waiting for weeks over on the porch. Had to go sign for that, so hopefully you don't mind. You know, I'm so far into this recording, I think I'm just gonna chill and let that happen. So, apologies for all of those who are watching who just who had to deal with me getting up and getting a book from outside. Alright, so we've got these craggy rocks here. We've basically got our whole mountain range outlined in smaller mountains. And now you know what's coming. We're going with the hills. Those hills are way too big, though, so let's go ahead and move these down to, like, 8. Oh. I pressed undo and it went right down to the went right back to the hills. It reset my scale. Okay, 8. Oh, minimum of 10. Interesting. So I can't put them smaller than this. And then if I undo my first one, it undoes the scale. That is okay. Not a problem. We're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna place our foothills. No, God. See, I want to undo all that now, but I can't. Kind of like, is there a selection tool anywhere here? Yeah, there is. Just delete all those. No, I want the frustrating. But sometimes creation can be a frustrating process. I want these hills to be a bit bigger, which is why I'm deleting all of them. Okay, stamp tool. Grab these. We're gonna go up to like 15. How 15 goes? No, 15 is too small still, so maybe we're gonna go 25. See, with 25 though, now the hills look like they're the size of the small mountains, which is incorrect. So maybe 20. Yeah, 20 is probably where we want to be here. We want to move the density down a little bit just so I can speed this process up and do some click and drag without do some click and drag without vomiting hills all over the place. So oops, that's wrong. This I'm gonna put this over there. All right. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of these hills, but I mean they certainly get the job done. And this area looks really cool. These stylized mountain stamps are very incarnate. If I'm being honest with you, like you can tell at an instant who's used Inkarnate and who's used like Wonderdraft or who's used anything else because of the mountains. But I do like the fact that Inkarnate provides this very colorful style to their maps. And so when you're doing an Inkarnate map, you don't have to worry about it looking flat. You don't have to worry about it looking fake in a sense because this looks awesome. And I really love the way that looks. So that's gonna be that. Let's see what other stamps we have. We have tree stamps. Which of course we're gonna have to do tree stamps. Once again, disappointing that the majority of the tree, besides the basics, are locked behind a paywall. However, if you'll remember Wonderdraft, my preferred program only has 2 real small trees that you can use. So, that is something I wish both. Oh, I want these hills. These hills would have been so much better than these hills. Grr. It's okay. We're gonna grab our carnivorous forest trees here. We're gonna pump these. You know, it does bother me that these aren't vector images. Oh, they are vector images. Just took them a half hour to load because I made them really big. Let's see how big a 100 scale tree is. That's far too large. So maybe like a 35 scale tree here. Is this more the tree size that I'm looking for? And I think the answer to that question is almost. So we're gonna go with 40. We're not gonna go up by a crazy amount, and 40 looks pretty good. We're gonna zoom in. We're gonna remember how to reposition the camera, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start placing trees. We're gonna place some trees all over the bottom of this little archipelago. Is there a layers, objects, foreground? Can I add a new layer? Is that something I'm allowed to do? Oh, I was gonna say because it just happened, but now it's not happening. Of course, when I want it to, when I want to show why it was happening. One of my trees wound up underneath a mountain, and I wanted to make sure that my trees were going over the tops of mountains, or were interacting properly with the mountains that are in the area. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do this. We're gonna fill these mountains with the joy of little trees. This here, and I want to. Oh, so there's a rotate button, not a scale button. I just want to go out and I want to make sure that this looks okay, and it kind of looks okay. I'm not a huge fan of these trees. Or how do I even phrase this? I'm not sure if I'm a fan of these trees with these mountains. And one of the reasons why I like Wonder Draft style of the certain objects will take the color of the ground you put underneath it is so that in situations like this, the trees will always match. Because right now these trees do not look like they really match the land that they're on, and that is, not gonna lie, a little bit of a frustration for me right now that I can't really change the colors of these trees. And I mean, I'm sure if I bought the premium pack with more trees, I might find trees that fit better with these default mountains, but it's a little disappointing to me that the trees in the default pack do not match with the mountains in the default pack, because you would think everything in the default pack would go well together. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna place some trees over in this area up here. I'm gonna make a real nested forest in here, just like in my hundreds of thousands of trees map, just because I've started to really come around to that look, and I hate myself for it because it means I have to do a lot more extra work a lot more often. But I think that it makes my maps look a lot better in my opinion, and I guess at the end of the day, if you're not making maps for yourself, who are you making maps for? Unless you're a professional map person. Unless you are a cartographer, in which case you need to keep your clients' enjoyment in mind. But since I am my own boss here, if I want trees, I get trees, damn it. I want trees. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to... I mean, these trees are even debatably too large, because if you look at them next to a mountain, have you ever seen a tree the size of a mountain? The answer is, I hope not. And then we're going to switch from this tree to the dead tree here, and we're going to make this look like the... maybe this is called like the sulfur flats or something, and it's like a rotting area of swampland and craggy hills surrounded by green. It's a cursed land, so a whole bunch of those types of trees there. I am going to go ahead and speed this process way the hell up by just slapping down a bunch of trees up here with no rhyme or reason, and we're going to make the illusion of a forest above the map by making the trees go straight to the tree line. And really quickly after this, I am going to save because I don't trust this. I don't trust this program. Let's see, we'll call this Daily 10, because I believe this is the 10th day of, I believe this is the 10th day of dailies, of map dailies. Might be 9. Very well might be 9. But, I don't know, the days are blending in at this point. Quarantine has screwed me a little bit. Quarantine has screwed me. God, it's amazing that like I have this package next to me. It's a journal that I got, a custom leather journal that I got because I'm in the middle of writing a book, and that book is I need a place to take notes, and I'm a fiend for journals, and so whenever I start a project, I'll buy a journal for that project. Like the Silence Cartographer has a journal over on my writing desk, but so I'll buy a journal. And so for this book, since I finally got through the outlining phase, I mean, it was crazy. It's a 17-page outline, which is ridiculous. And so I've bought a journal to try and organize my thoughts as I go through the process of writing that book. Won't be the first book that I've written. Won't be the last. I don't know if this is going to be my first published book though, because I don't consider myself an author. I consider myself a writer. And I think the big difference between the two is that a writer does it for fun as a hobby, and then an author does it to get published. And I have no interest in getting published. But you might think, oh, it's so weird. Why would you write so much? Why would you pour so much pour so much effort into something that will never exist? And the answer to that question is because I like telling stories. I like telling my own stories, and I know that not everyone's going to like my stories, and maybe some people will, but you have to realize that publishing is a pain in the butt. It's not just that it's okay, let's zoom out and let's take a peek here. Wow. Okay, so that's starting to come together. So we're going to cut these trees over to this area, then we're going to start working our way down. It's been 25 minutes, not bad in the silent cartographer terms for the amount of work that we have done, including getting a package for 2 minutes, which I still do feel bad about that, but I'm not about to redo the whole map. All of my wonderful rants about Inkarnate and its scummy business practices. So if you're listening, Inkarnate, if for whatever reason this explodes and becomes something that I'm not the only person who watches, although somebody subscribed the other day. I'm sorry I don't remember your name, but somebody subscribed to the channel. So somebody's watched a daily map or something, or maybe one of my D&D vlogs, and has decided, yes, this is the information that I need, but you've made a lot of changes. Consider saving. I just saved. I just saved. Yeah. So somebody's been watching some of the daily maps. I'm not sure who you are, but thank you for watching the daily map. Because I do these just as like an excuse to be creative. I do this as an excuse to think about art and to do art for a couple of hours or even just a couple minutes every day, to connect myself to that hobby that I have in a time where I have to do a lot of work that I might not want to do. Giving myself the goal of making a map a day has definitely helped me, greatly helped me. You know, have more fun some days. Some days I'll be having a long day at work, or a long day at school, or a long day of writing, and I get to open up Wonder Draft or Dungeon Draft, or I guess Inkarnate, or pull out a piece of paper, and I get to make a map, and there's nothing cooler than creating something, so. Okay, so now we have to think about what's on this beach. Is there a grass texture? No, not really. Is there a grass texture in the paid version? Oh, there's seagulls. That's so cool. God dang it. There's tufts of grass here in the paid version, but they're not really what I'm looking. I was looking for those hash marks that I use for my. Ooh, banners is cool. Alright, but let's go ahead and make some town here. Make some settlements. Scale 40. We definitely want to scale that over to scale 20. And it would appear that I put one down. So let's go ahead and let's move that one over here. Maybe there's another one over on the water over here. Maybe there's another one that's going to be in whatever area this is. And then maybe we can open the catalog again. Not a fan of the fact that there's not multiple types of the same town. Like, if this had the same functionality that these did, where there's all these different stamp options, that'd be really cool. Fortress, a city. We gotta have a city somewhere. So we're gonna actually pump this up to 30. We're gonna get real beefy. And you know, maybe we can actually just integrate that into the town right there, and then suddenly we've got a big port city. And then we're also going to need to go back into the stamps, and we're going to need to grab something that's a little bit more high fantasy. We're going to grab an orc town here. We're going to move this back to 20, because that's the scale we use for human towns. We're going to put the orc town in the valley, in the valley, and then maybe we have some ruins that we're also going to place here, and these ruins need to be a little bit bigger, maybe 40. Another thing that I would love from Inkarnate is a universal scale on all of your things. Like, if I'm using scale 40 for the ruins, and then I switch to a city, it should be about the right size already. Um, but, I mean, it's a very, very minor nitpick. Very minor nitpick. 20. Let's grab this little farm. Oh no! Once again, if you switch off of your stamp, you get the lovely fact that you have to reselect it, which is of course a pain in the butt. But sometimes everything's a pain in the butt. So then we're gonna grab a fortress here. Maybe this one. This seems like a fork an orc could build. A fort an orc could build. And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pump this up to 40. And we are gonna. That's way too big. Yeah, I guess this fort would be the size of a city. And so maybe the orcs have put this off. And so we're gonna go back to scale 100 here. With the large mountains. No, it wasn't. What was the scale for the mountains? Was it like 60? 60 about right? Yeah. If it wasn't, it is now. And we're gonna make a pass. We're gonna make this look like we are going to make this appear. Oh Jesus. Okay, give me this tree. Give me this tree. This tree's gotta move. We're gonna make it appear that the orcs have blockaded this from this human settlement over here. And you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go to the mask tool. We're gonna go subtract, and we're actually just gonna take this island. I wonder if these will. Okay, yeah, the little coastline rings will go away if you delete the land, which is good. We're gonna have this waterway here be open. We want to go back to the stamps. We want to go to the farming village. We want to set this back to 20. We want to put that right on the coast there. Just kind of gives that implication that this is here. And so then maybe we have a big boat. We have some boats in the. Did it? Oh. Interesting. So there are four different boats and they're all at different angles. So that's that boat. Are those going the same direction? No, they're two different types of boats, and then that's funny. So they have boats going this way, they have boats going that way, but they don't have boats going backwards, which is unfortunate. So we'll have one of these anchored here. And this just kind of gives the indication that maybe they're sailing around. Maybe that's how they're getting from point A to point B. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go back to my little thing, because there's actually two different styles of ship, and I want to make sure that I'm using the other one, the other style. So this one has square sails, that one has triangular sails. So I'm saying, hey, maybe these guys have different boats than those guys, just to make them look a little bit different. Oh. That's not what I want to do. I'm going to scroll out, which is just nothing. I have to remember to take my hands off the wheel for that one. And now we have to do something about that deserty area. Camps, different stuff like that. This cave is pretty cool though. Having all these different cave things. So we're going to move this up to 40. And maybe this area over here is called the holes. Maybe it's a very dangerous place to be because there's orcs that are mining ferociously, or maybe there's like a large tunneling dragon thing in this area, and the humans, well, they once used this as a mining town, but when the orcs took over, the orcs have used them for much more nefarious purposes. And so that looks pretty cool. I like that as a little piece of flavor. But I really, it might just be trees. The answer might be trees. Really, I would like cliffs, rocks, all the stuff that I really am being drawn to are unfortunately in the paid thing. But you can't really be can't really be bothered by that sometimes, you know? Oh, you know what we can do? We can stamp a dragon on there. I wish it had a little bit more contrast. Is there a way that I can rotate this that doesn't look horrendous? No. Perspective is a pain in the butt. And it goes underneath the hills, because of course it does. Okay. Let's just go back to our tree brush. Let's stop complaining. Complaining's not good for anybody. Complaining is not good for anybody. This is a great tool, especially if you don't have another option, especially if you can't afford something like Wonder Draft. Having the ability to just sit down and create for free online for basically an email address is your barrier to entry for Inkarnate. Frustrations aside, it is a fantastic program for new and aspiring DMs and artists that I would absolutely recommend checking out. My personal endorsement is still that if you can afford to purchase something like Wonder Draft, I would say absolutely purchase something like Wonder Draft. But if that is outside of your means, Inkarnate is definitely something interesting. And then I think that maybe someday in the near future, maybe even as close as tomorrow's daily map, I will go and I'll sit down with Inkarnate Pro. I'll do a month subscription to Inkarnate, and I'll see what I can pull out of that, and see if my recommendation changes. Because I mean, one of the things about Wonder Draft is I think it's only like $20, and so it's $6 or $12 a month or however much Inkarnate is. You can get Wonder Draft in 2 months of Inkarnate subscription. So if I recommend Wonder Draft over Inkarnate Pro, then there's really no reason to buy Inkarnate Pro, in my opinion. But I'll have to play around with the pro functionalities of Inkarnate because I'm ignorant of those, and so I should not speak down on the quality of Inkarnate Pro, as I have never used Inkarnate Pro. I think I might have had a Pro subscription way back when Inkarnate first popped out of the leaves, back before the undo button, in oh so dark times. I'm just gonna put some trees on the coast because it just doesn't look right without anything there. So it's not accurate. I know that they would not be growing on sand, but oh. But I think when it comes to region maps that can't use paths, because that's a pro feature, of course, we can call that pretty good. Let's check out lines. And you know, honestly, the that grid's not bad. If we do say 15 miles per square. Now the question would be, see, I like having my grid only on the water, just because it helps set the scale, but it doesn't intrude on the images. So we're gonna switch the alpha to like 10. And you can barely see it, so we're actually gonna bump that up to like 20. Just the idea that there is a grid here, not an overpowering grid that makes it super obnoxious to look at. And then we're gonna set the scale to 30, so that this little passway here, maybe it's 25 miles per square, maybe it's 50 miles. Is that fort actually 50 miles? Of course it's not. Although maybe it could be 5 miles each, and 10 miles across. Is a fort 10 miles across? No, it's not, but you know what? It just gives a sense of scale of the entire area. And then maybe the adventurers start in the city here, and they hear that the town across the water is being besieged by orcs, and something is in these caves, and maybe these are abandoned farmlands that are haunted. Maybe this forest is elven and it's cursed, or elvish, and it's got elves inside of it that are killing humans for some reason. You have to go find out what that is. So even with this map, even with this 40-minute map right here, there's inspiration here that you can use. And I love the flavor of these mines over here once belonging to the humans. Eventually the orcs take it over, and then they're using it for their own means. I love the fact that the elven forest right here, maybe maybe the elves are killing humans who come into this forest because of something that's happening in these caves that the elves think the humans are doing, but they don't know that the orcs are actually doing it. Or maybe a human defected to the orcs and he's doing something horrendous. Maybe he's torturing elves in the caves. And so you have to go and you have to go kill that person, and then you have to go deal with the orc problem, and then you have to go around, then you have to clear the haunted forest, and then you have to come down, and you can get to the city, and then your adventure continues through this mountain range. So again, there's a whole campaign here hidden if you know where to look. And I absolutely love it. I have to figure out how to export this for the Imgur link, but thank you so much for watching. I've been Jay the Silent Cartographer. This has been a daily map in Inkarnate, the very free version of Inkarnate. If you enjoy this map and you want to use it in your own role-playing game for personal use, I do have to emphasize for personal use, the link to download this map will be in the description below. As always, it is an Imgur link or an Imager link, whichever one you want to call it. So you know it is safe. It is a safe website to download from. Sorry, lost my train of thought completely there. If you enjoy this content, you want to see a map every day, I've been going pretty strong so far. This is either day 8 or day 9, or day 9 or day 10. I think it's actually day 9 now that I'm... No? Maybe? I don't remember what day it is. It's one of those days, and there's going to be another one of those days tomorrow, where I go back to Wonderdraft to work on another map. But until then, I will see you guys later. Thanks so much for watching, and have an amazing